Welcome to The Explainer. Get ready because today we are taking an incredibly simple piece of source material and unpacking its absolutely insane journey. We're talking about how something that started out as a total throwaway joke transformed into the ultimate global phenomenon. It is an amazing story of language, technology, and history, all wrapped up in a package so small that you literally use it every single day.
But before we reveal it, I want you to take a guess. What is the single most widely understood word on Earth? Think about it. Out of all the different languages, the countless dialects, and the billions of people across the globe, what is the one universally recognized export in human history that practically everyone on the planet immediately understands? Do you have your guess?
Okay, let's dive into this. It is this simple two-letter word, okay. Just two letters. We use it to express assent, agreement, or acceptance. It is so deeply embedded in our daily lives that we barely even notice we're saying it. But how did these two random letters come to dominate human communication? The answer is far weirder and much more fascinating than you might think.
To figure this out, we move to Section 1, an 1839 grammatical joke.
We're heading all the way back in time to the 1830s. Specifically to the city of Boston, to explore the surprisingly absurd micro-origins of the word okay. Because okay didn't come from ancient Latin or Greek roots, it actually started out as a joke. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what was going on at the time. In the late 1830s, there was this massive intellectual fad among young, educated writers. They loved making up abbreviations out of intentional comedic misspellings. It was essentially the 19th century equivalent of internet slang or meme culture. So instead of writing all correct, they jokingly misspelled it as all correct, starting with an O and a K.
This quirky little abbreviation made its very first appearance in print in a newspaper called the Boston Morning Post back in 1839. It was just a silly editorial gag. By all normal rules of history, a random joke in a local newspaper should have faded into total obscurity within a week. But obviously, that is not what happened.
So, what changed? Let's look at Section 2, Politics and the Telegraph.
We are now going to look at the massive catalyst that took this fleeting piece of slang and cemented it as a permanent fixture in human history. Because it wasn't just writers who kept it alive. It was this wild collision of high-stakes politics and cutting-edge technology. The first massive push came just 1 year later, in 1840. The United States was right in the middle of a heated presidential election. The incumbent president, Martin Van Buren, was from Kinderhook, New York, and his supporters probably called him Old Kinderhook. You see where this is going, right? His political campaign cleverly hijacked the slang okay and formed okay clubs all across the country to support his re-election. Boom, the joke was now a national slogan.
Let's move to and see how this builds on this rapid timeline. We have the 1839 publication, the 1840 political popularization by Van Buren supporters, and then we hit 1844. This is the real game changer, the invention of the telegraph.
Early telegraph operators were dealing with a brand new, totally revolutionary technology. They were sending messages across vast distances over wires, and they desperately needed a foolproof, standard confirmation signal to let the other person know a message had been received accurately. OK was absolutely perfect for this. It was short, it was concise, it provided unmistakable confirmation, and, crucially, it was incredibly easy to tap out quickly in Morse code. This technological leap took OK from a slang term to a vital, functional utility for human infrastructure.
From that point on, there was absolutely no putting the genie back in the bottle. This brings us to Section 3, taking over the world. Now, what's really interesting about this is how we see the macro impact of the word as it leaped across oceans and borders. Because once those telegraph networks spread globally, OK went right along with them, introducing the word to entirely new cultures. This global dominance is just striking. Whether you were speaking Spanish, Arabic, Japanese, or countless other languages, the word used is still OK, and absolutely no translation is needed. It flawlessly integrates into vastly different global languages. It's short enough to fit anywhere, and its phonetic sounds are incredibly easy for almost anyone in the world to pronounce, regardless of their native tongue.
And its journey didn't even stop at the borders of Earth. In 1969, humanity achieved the impossible. When Buzz Aldrin was confirming the very first successful human landing on the moon, part of his essential transmission back to NASA was literally, "Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. Okay, engine stop." I mean, wow. From a newspaper joke in Boston to the surface of the moon.
So the crucial point is this. We so often think of history as being driven only by grand designs and massive institutions. But if an absurd grammatical joke from the 1830s can conquer the entire globe, seamlessly cross every language barrier, and even be spoken on the surface of the moon, what does that say about how humanity actually connects? It shows us that sometimes the most unifying tools we have are the absolute simplest ones. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I hope you never look at the word okay the exact same way again.